I'm Carlos Sentis. So I hand the floor over to you, Carlos. Please go ahead.
And it is a great pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am very excited, and I want to thank IE Business School for creating this extraordinary opportunity for us. I thank you and all the team for the amazing work and for all the effort that you have put into the session. And more importantly, thank all of the participants for making time to connect, to learn from each other, to set our goals, define our strategy, work together, create a future that we want for us and for the others, right? So I would love to be there and talk individually to all of you and hug you, but okay, we are now in social distancing time, so we need to stay united in the distance, and I hope that we are able to collaborate and to create something meaningful together in the future. And you know, the world may collapse, but it won't be able to prevent us from doing what is right, from fighting to protect our families, and doing all we can to achieve our purpose. We live in a disrupting world that is changing faster than ever before. The convergence of technologies between AI, IoT, robotics, self-driving cars, 3D printing, virtual reality is making us experience more change in the next 20 years than in the last 300. And just as if the world was not already challenging enough or changing enough, coronavirus came and disrupted our whole world and our lives again. Now, this global economic crisis is going to add more difficulties to more than 2 billion people that were already living at some level of poverty. But we have opportunities in the midst of this crisis, and we will look at what can we do to go from where we are at to go to where we want to have our purpose and our destination to be. It is crucial that we provide more value than ever. It is crucial that we are adapting constantly, that we innovate, that we see what we can do to help others in order to have a role that is crucial for us to have a space in the market and also for us to thrive and to make the world a better place. Listen, we are in a moment of a lot of change in economy, in politics, in society, in communities, but also it should be a time for us to change, for us to look within ourselves and see what we can do to move forward in the right direction. We have to revise our actions and our moral values, rebuild our policies, define our budgets, and restart from scratch. We have to look and see how can we shed light to the righteous path that we want to build and walk together, right? So it is precisely at these moments where we need to be stronger than ever, to have a bigger determination to make things right. We have to get rid of all the things that we don't like of ourselves and all the things that we don't like of our system and our leadership, and see how can we become the change that we want to see. You know, it is not the moment for panic or fear or despair. It is no time for selfishness, greed, and comfort. It is time to work harder than ever to make things better. So please take this opportunity and assume full responsibility for you and for the others, and take this time to become the best human being you can possibly be. You know, do all you can to live a life that is meaningful, to feel proud of yourself, and live as if it was the last time, because it may be. Do what you know that needs to be done, and of course, do well even when others don't. Be kind to others even when they are not kind to you. Be always the bigger person. Be generous, empathetic, be strong and independent, and be you and be all of us. It is time for you to lead. It is time for you to create, to innovate, and to impulse us all. And I would like you to have a new concept in life where you have 3 main pillars: save the world, make money, and be happy. Help others, live a meaningful life, live a prosperous life, and also take care of yourself and of your mental health. And find yourself, be your biggest friend and your biggest supporter. Do not ever expect anything from anybody else. Don't expect others to do it for you. You don't need more experience to start. You don't need more money to start, because you will learn by doing, and you will find ways to create prosperity for yourself. You don't need anything you cannot find within yourself. So please don't let us down. Don't let yourself down, because you are our future and our present and our only hope. And we need you to be the strongest you can be, now more important than ever. Today is the first day of the rest of our lives. I have that exact same tattooed in my back since 12 years ago, because every day is an opportunity to grow and to learn from the past, so we can create the present that we need in order to foster a future that is positive for us. So my only goal today is to try to help you, okay? To support you, to provide value. And I am very far away from being perfect. I am not a role model. I have not figured everything out, but I have worked very hard to try to become better. And I believe some of the things that I have learned along the way can be useful for you. So I would love to be useful for you. And I will start by sharing a brief video so you get to know me a little bit better. Then I will go over a presentation that will guide our conversation. And then I will go right to what I believe is the most important thing, which is knowing who we are, where do we want to go, how to create a path that makes sense for ourselves, and how do we execute so we can move forward and move towards our destination. Thank you all, and let us do this. Best person you can be, and you will live forever. Thank you very much. Also, I think probably you guys have noticed, but I think this is pretty important. I am wearing a suit, okay? So it is lockdown, and I am wearing a suit and also even the pants. And I hope that you guys recognize the effort, because there's a lot of people that are not doing that. And I want to start by sharing the presentation, and more importantly, to talk about what brings us today, which is the idea of personal branding and what do we have to do, okay? So the first thing of all, I have to thank my father for all the incredible support that he has given to me ever since I was born, but more importantly, during all the last years. Unfortunately, he passed away 3 years ago due to pancreatic cancer, but he was my mentor, my partner, and my best friend, and he was the beginning of everything for me. More importantly, because he taught me a lot of very important lessons. Some of them being to not feel or be more than the others and never be less than anybody else. He was a very important journalist, and he would go meet ministers and really important people, and he would talk to them just the same way he talks to the employees of a supermarket. And quite honestly, because of the gratitude that I felt when I was like 17, 18 years old, and the gratitude that I felt for having this beautiful life with a happy family that supported me, really gave me the motivation to do all I could to try to become better. And it was at that time when I was starting my career, when I started to see what I wanted my future to look like. And I started to realize that my life was going to end at some point, and I had to do all I could to become better and to improve in any aspect that could lead me to generate a positive impact in the world. So a little bit about me. I am the founder and CEO of the World Impact Alliance, which is a private initiative that brings together companies, institutions, and remarkable individuals that want to make the world a better place by finding and applying specific solutions to problems in healthcare, environment, poverty, human rights, and education. I am also a global shaper at the World Economic Forum. I am very proud and happy to be part of the IE family, and also I serve in different boards or different projects as a consultant. I am 31 years old right now. I started working when I was 18 years old, and I have worked as a journalist. I have worked as a consultant. I have worked with more than 100 big brands and institutions from different countries, generated more than 1,500 media impacts, spoken in more than 70 events, and done many projects. Among them, a very large influencer campaign with more than 200 million page views, more than 120 million combined followers, and many, many initiatives that I am not going to talk about today. Just wanted you to have a little bit of a sense of what I've been doing. So these are some of the clients that I have worked for with my consultancy, and I will let you know a little bit about how to go from not having clients to knowing who do you target, and then how to go to the next step and actually achieving the clients. And these are some of the projects that we have worked on for the last years. Many initiatives, many events, delegations, campaigns, and all kinds of initiatives that I have been very excited to develop, but more importantly, that have been a very interesting learning journey that allowed me to know a lot of people and also know how to really create my own project and how to go from where I was at that time, that I was just a student, an intern in a newspaper, to actually having my own business and having a lot of opportunities that are now allowing me to do something that I believe is valuable for others. And just as I told you, when I was a little bit younger, now I feel very old, but when I was younger, I was always trying to learn all kinds of skills and doing all kinds of crazy things. This is me dancing on top of a trash bin. I'm doing all kinds of stupid things like kissing Minnie or bothering cows or doing a lot of kung fu moves very badly. This is a map that I created when I was pretty young, thinking about the languages that I wanted to learn, which were the 5 most spoken languages in the world and the countries that speak them. So after a very, very long time, now finally I am learning Arabic, and I am close to be able to talk, to speak in Arabic. So this is the plan, not quite there yet, but on it. And before I talk about the project that we have been doing and all the tips and pieces of advice that I have for you guys, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of personal branding. Regardless of what you're trying to achieve, regardless of if you are trying to have your own business, if you want to find a job, if you want to improve your position in your job, if you want to become an authority in your field, no matter what you're trying to do, having a personal brand is very important. And now more than ever, it is going to be crucial. And I'll tell you why. Just think of the following. We are going to experience a very large economic crisis. And unfortunately, a lot of people are losing their jobs. Now, chances are that the best job for you is not in your city. Probably there are opportunities elsewhere. Probably you need to differentiate yourself from the others. And if you're only going to be sending your resume and see if there's a possibility of getting hired, the possibilities are going to be very, very low. Now, when you have a bigger, stronger personal brand, when you have a good reputation, when people trust you, when you have a lot of contacts, when you have appeared on media, when you have your presence on social media, you have greater opportunities, and it's way, way easier for you to thrive even in very hard times. So don't think that personal branding is only for entrepreneurs or only for a certain type of career path, because it is going to be now more important than ever for all of us. And just think of what happens when you are trying to send a resume. What normally happens is that companies are too busy to look at them. And what we need to do is to be able to get to talk to the people that are hiring. Just think of the following. We are all human beings behind those resumes. But if you only look at the paper, it doesn't really say much about you, does it? If I say, this is my resume, I am maybe experienced in some fields, but there's so many things that I would be able to demonstrate, to show to these employers if I were able to talk to them. So resume is not everything, CVs are not everything, and there's a lot around what can I do to stand out, what can I do to be known, to be heard, to be respected, and to actually be able to convince people to move forward and to launch projects. Also, if you're trying to develop initiatives inside of your own company or your own organization, and you need to convince someone that is your leader, your boss, whatever, you have to be able to create an initiative and present it to him in a way, or her, in a way that is convincing. And the better your personal brand is, the more respected you will be, and the easier it will be to push those projects. So again, to find a job, to improve your position inside of the organization you have, to just do your own initiatives and be an entrepreneur, personal branding is always going to be useful and very important. And there are very clear ways to improve your branding. And one of the most important of them is just to know where you are trying to go and go in the same direction for as long as you can. We normally forget about the importance of time. We need to be patient. You just saw a video of some of the things that we have done, and that video is 10, 12 years of work. So whatever you're trying to achieve requires a lot of time. I don't think I have done anything in my life really valuable yet. I'm trying to establish myself, and during all this path, what I realized that is the most important thing is actually time. The accumulation of time going in the same direction, trying to provide value to everybody, trying to be always available, always willing, always useful to the others, all right? So I'm gonna share with you the project that we're working on very quick so you understand better what I am doing and how we can collaborate in the future. And we're going to go right into the personal branding strategy. So what we're doing is to try to push initiatives and solutions for the problems that are compiled in the SDGs, but more importantly in poverty, healthcare, environment, and human rights and education. So one of the things that we're doing is bringing together people from all over the world. We have already 300 members from 80 different countries, and we're very excited to have a lot of amazing people. This is my friend Press from Nigeria, and this is a lovely video message that she sent to me with her students. And she is one of the members. She's advocating for education and for mathematics in Africa. This is my friend Percy Jackson. He is a teacher in Ghana. He is called the dancing teacher because he is very famous now because he is motivating students thanks to dancing. And he has appeared in all over the world in a lot of different media outlets. And he is a really remarkable guy. He's 𝗪𝗁𝘁. He is the founder of 𝗪𝗁𝘁, a social impact fashion brand that gets plastic from the oceans and uses that to create the fabric for his fashion brand. And he is incredibly successful in doing something that is good for the world at the same time. Our work is going to be focused on different commissions. We are launching the network, a list of influencers for a better world, people that are doing something remarkable to make the world better. We're doing a list of solutions for each of every problem we have, solutions that are already working that can be implemented. And we're going to launch everything in a forum whenever the lockdown is over. These are some of the solutions that we're looking for. This is an example. How can we limit the amount of solid waste that goes to the rivers and then to the seas? There are many solutions. For example, this is the life straw filter that allows people to drink from very dirty water and reduce, basically eliminate all the germs and all the bacteria. So this is part of the things that we're doing. And if you want to join us, you just can let me know afterwards, okay? Now, of all the projects that we're doing, there are some that I would love you to join. But the most important thing is, again, that we remain in touch. Okay? What I would love to do is that today we start a new friendship, and not only with IE Business School and with myself, together we can build a lot of beautiful things together. Okay? All right. So regarding personal branding, I told you some of the reasons why personal branding is important, but the biggest issue that we normally have is that we don't really know where we're going. So I would like to just ask you the first and most important question of probably your life, which is, what is the purpose of your existence? What do you want to achieve before you die? What is the most important thing for you right now? Okay, I am, the poll is coming out. You can please answer as soon as you can. I don't know how to do it so it doesn't appear here. I will put it on the side. There we go. But please do reply whenever you have the time, okay? So again, what is the biggest goal of your life? And just think that at some point, you have to look back to your life and feel proud of what you have done. You have to see that you have been valuable for the others, that you have done something that made you happy. Because if you don't know where you're going, it is impossible to achieve anything. So before having a beautiful brand and a lot of promotion and graphic design and marketing and sales, and before all that, the most important thing is that you actually know where you're going, okay? So in order to know where you're going, the biggest issue is knowing who you are. And this is really not an easy task. I write every single day, and I try to understand myself. I try to understand the world that we live in. And of course, it is very difficult to really know everything about oneself. But what I really try to do is, with as much effort as possible, is to see, what do I like? What do I want? What do I need for my life? But also, what are the things that I am really bad at? What are my biggest weaknesses? And how can I become better? Okay, so knowing about yourself is what is going to really determine the goal that you're going to set for yourself. Because again, there's people that really want to be wealthy, there's people that want to be famous, there's people that want to help others, or there's people that want to do all. You know yourself better than anybody else. And if you don't really analyze yourself, it's going to be very difficult that you really choose a path that makes sense for yourself. Because if you are always watching what other people are doing, you may imitate their paths, but chances are you're not going to be able to really create your own game, create your own strategy for a life that you want for yourself. And if you're doing something for the others, it is very, very likely that you will not be able to have a lot of motivation, because you're living the dreams of other people, or you're living just to show others. But we need to look inside ourselves and see, okay, it looks like my passions are this, or it looks like I'm really good at this, or it looks like I really care a lot about the others, and I don't want to spend my whole life just trying to make a lot of money. I want to do something else. So I would rather be less successful by other people's terms, but I'm going to do what I like, what I want. I want to do education, or I want to do whatever. So the first thing is self-awareness, all right? And again, we are all very, very different. We have a different vision of the world. We have been through different things. Hopefully you have had beautiful, healthy, and happy lives, but chances are that you have been through some difficulties, that you have been through hardships, that we basically, all of us have lost some of our loved ones. And it is very, very important that we acknowledge who we are, where we come from, the advantages that we have, and the weaknesses that we have. So being different is good, and please don't follow other people's dreams. Just try to see, where are you at? Okay, all the questions that I'm asking, I would love you to really go write them and see if you're able to define a better vision of who you are. Okay, because again, trying to build a super cool brand is not going to be useful if you are not defining well where you're going. And everything starts with yourself, okay? Let's go. All right, so when you know who you are, or a little bit about who you are, you need to set exactly where you want to go, right? And we've been saying things about this. Now, the most important thing is that every goal has a sacrifice. You know, whatever goal you put for yourself, it's going to come with an opportunity cost, and it's going to be a very big cost. Because just think about it, if you pursue a lot of money, you may have a very, very bad relationship with your family, for example. If you're always trying to help others and you never take care of yourself, chances are that at some point you're going to feel uncomfortable, or you may not have even the right living conditions for yourself. So every path that we take has a cost of opportunity. And we really want to define a goal that makes sense for ourselves. Now, there are many ways to get to our goal. So I am not suggesting that you need to know now. I don't know if you're 20 years old or 40 years old, it's fine. I don't need you to know exactly where you're going, but at least have a sense of what it looks like, what the future that you would like to have looks like. And that allows you to think of different ways that you could actually get closer to your goal with. And in order to define a strategy, again, through your reflection of all these things that we're talking about, you will know better what do you need. Like, do you really need 3 houses and luxuries, or you only need to provide to your family? Do you need to be incredibly successful in some field, or maybe you don't need so much? The less you need, the better it's going to be for yourself. Okay, so again, think about the needs and goals, but then it's what can you provide of value to the market? Again, it's not about your brand as just an empty slogan, but as what is the value that you're providing to the market? And there's so many things that you can do. There's a lot of opportunities that are await for our skills, our knowledge, our efforts. But we need to really think of what is our background, what are my skills, what can I do? And then see who is the right target for me, who is the right partner for me, who is the client that I could have. For example, if you happen to have some contacts in companies in your community, great, you could go talk to the companies and sell B2B. If you happen to be better with social media marketing and you're able to do campaigns and to promote online, maybe you're going to be better off doing B2C marketing. So whatever your strengths or your biggest advantages are, is going to define a lot of the value that you can provide for the others. And that is crucial, because if you don't have anything to offer, then nothing that we're going to say today is going to make any sense, okay? Now, when you know what your value proposition is, you could be a consultant, you could be a graphic designer, you could be a financial advisor, you could be many things. And I know that we have people from very different backgrounds. Whatever your value proposition is, then we have to present it to the right people. So we need to define who we are going to talk to, say, the small businesses in our area, or businesses that are interested in going to develop some project in Africa, or whatever it is. We need to define who our potential client is, and then create our presentations to go show them and make sure that we get them to see what we're trying to offer. Okay, now there's of course communication and PR. We're going to talk a lot about that as much as the time that we have allows us to do. And then when you are able to talk to your potential clients, you're going to need to have proposals, follow-up, negotiation, close, and delivery. So the main idea is that I need to know, what am I offering? Who am I trying to offer it to? Then I have to get a meeting with them. They have to say, hey, I want to do something with you. Can you do a proposal? What does your service look like? What does your product look like? And then after doing the proposal, what normally happens is that people don't respond, okay? 90% of the sales will happen after the 8th follow-up, meaning that if you send an email and they don't answer, you may think, no, they already have it, and I am too good to go chase them. Well, you know what? You cannot do that. And I started like that. I didn't know anything about sales. And then I realized that I had to follow up. So when they don't answer, what do? You go back. And then you talk to a company and they don't want to do business with you. And what do? You go back again with something better. The same applies to everything in business and in the personal branding space. You're going to have to really push hard, and there's going to be a lot of rejection, but we don't care. No, it is not important, the rejection that we have. We just need to focus on the little pieces of progress that we're doing, okay? And then again, when you close, when you're able to get a client, or when you're able to close on the project that you wanted to do, when you're able to establish yourself as a public speaker, coach, whatever you're trying to do, when you achieve what you want, then you have to do the delivery, right? Then you have to actually do the thing that you say that you can do. So don't think that it's only about promotion. promotion is only what gets you to start working, but then you have to work and you have to be good at it, okay? All right, so let me see if there's questions. I'm gonna try to check every now and then. Okay, I don't know, do this, 1 second.
Hi, Carlos. So we had a few questions in the chat, and some of them I think you have been kind of covering the touch points. So one of them was from Pratik. What are your tips on personal branding for mid-level management individuals in an e-commerce company?
Okay.
Another one from Mohammed. He's an architecture graduate and he is here to learn how he can implement self-branding into his career development. We have another one from Ikwan. For a startup, how do we plan to ensure that businesses and startups are sustainable? I think post this COVID situation. And then another one from Lewis. Which path do you think can be followed to redirect your career after this crisis and the new sort of career development areas? Awesome. And then yeah, so those are sort of the questions we've received at the moment, but we'll keep fielding them and yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I would love to talk for 1 hour about each of those questions, and I'm gonna try to make the presentation go along those lines too. But the personal branding tips that we're going to share today are going to be valid for mid-management, even for CEOs, and it can work also for students. So that is going to be covered. About the paths that are available, there are several sectors that are going to be more affected negatively in the short term, but will come back, like tourism. There are some that are going to thrive in the short term, like health, for example, is going to get bigger. So there are different sectors that are going to be more important than others, but my recommendation is to see what is the biggest value that you can provide, like what is the thing that you know you can do well, and try to start pushing like crazy already. Because even if you need 1, 2, or 3 years to actually land what you're trying to achieve, time goes by and we will get through this crisis, and then you will be established as the kind of authority that you want, or you will get what you want. So it takes maybe 1 year, 2 years to push in the direction of what you're trying to achieve. But if you're constant, probably you're going to get something very, very early. So I'm going to try to cover also the sustainability part. I don't know if you mean about being sustainable in the sense of surviving along all the problems, or you mean about the social responsibility part. Either way, the biggest piece of advice that I have is that be risk averse. Okay, risk is not your friend. A lot of people think that if you're an entrepreneur or you have your own project, you have to love risk. That's absolutely not the case. You don't need a fancy office. You don't need a lot of investment. You don't need a fancy team, or you don't really need necessarily a credit or anything like that. Okay, there's many ways to create projects. There are ways that are less risky, and I would definitely not encourage you to go over like any risk right now. It's not the time to I would say to really invest a lot of money on anything, because it's very volatile and it's very easy to make mistakes, and we really don't know where everything is going. So one of the things that I'm trying to do during this lockdown is to improve myself, to get more ready, because since I really don't know what's going to happen, I don't want to start pushing in any direction. So I'm trying to become better using this time, and then whenever I see that I can really provide value in some field, then I will push like crazy. Okay, so I think that maybe answers your question. Okay, so again, with career paths, it was one of the questions. You also have to think about public or private sector, different industries. If you want to be an independent professional, that is a big recommendation that I have for all of you, or you want to be an entrepreneur. And let me do the distinction. If you're looking for a job and there are no jobs right now in the market, it is very difficult to do anything, right? You're going to send your resume, you're going to do your thing, and probably you're going to go on LinkedIn, and you're possibly not going to get much. But sometimes, as an independent professional, you are able to get 1, 2, 3, or 4 clients that turn to be better than just one employer. You end up being more free. You end up having more control of what you do, and to actually work with the people that you want. Because when you're in a job, normally what happens is that you're stuck in a situation where possibly if that company has a problem, they will just fire you, right? And you cannot depend on them.
but then you get used to working in one space and you feel very insecure about it. Now, the good thing about being an independent professional is that you offer your service to more people, to more organizations in different parts of the globe, regardless of what your field is. And it is easier, let's talk about money, it is easier to get 3 clients of €500 per month doing some sort of advisory than getting one job that is 1,500 net plus the Social Security in your area as a normal regular job of the ones that we were used to have, right? So again, being an independent professional can be a great way to be more independent and to actually get the situation a little bit better in these bad moments. And of course, entrepreneurship does not necessarily need to be something very risky. Okay, so I don't know how much you guys know about public relations, marketing, public speaking, but I could not stress enough how important it is to have a network, to know people, to take care of your people, and to actually promote the things that you do or the things that you can do. It is absolutely vital. Everything that I have ever achieved in my life comes from people that I have met, from people that have helped me, or people that have believed in me, or people that have introduced me to companies, or just events that I have been able to attend and I have been able to maximize for that. So people is everything. I don't care if you're B2B, B2C, or you're trying to do C2C or whatever. It always is person-to-person business. You're always going to need someone as a client, someone as a friend that helps you. And my biggest recommendation would be also during this crisis is, since it's going to be tough to sell, but we have the whole world has stopped. We can learn faster. We can be more focused on improving and preparing our projects, our ideas, but also you can network like crazy. And don't think because we have this social distancing thing and we cannot go out, we don't have the ability to network. We can network like ever before. There's so many opportunities to connect with people on social networks that is just ridiculous that we're not using this time to have a stronger network. So whenever we have the chance to start pushing our projects, let's say in 1 year or 2 years, at that moment, we just call our friends and probably they're going to allow us to achieve a lot of new initiatives. So again, connections are vital. Expand your relations, because otherwise there's nothing you're going to be able to do. Now, personal branding is a lot about reputation. It's a lot about trust. It's a lot about what people think about you. And don't get me wrong, I don't want you to care about what people say about you, people think about you, because in order to be happy, probably you really need to not care that much. But there's a slight difference. We are working in an environment where we need people, and at the same time, in order to really succeed, we need to provide value to them. So one thing is that you don't really care about if they like you or not, because you really should not care too much about those things. But at the same time, you need to do your best to make people believe that you are a good professional, that you're serious, that if you say something, you do it, that when that you have your word, that you never set expectations of what you're able to do higher than what you actually can achieve. Imagine that they offer you a project. Hey, I need you to give me a project that allows us to save, 30% of our expenses. Or you're going to help us to do a project in, let's say, marketing, and we want to achieve this amount of clients. And you say, sure, no problem. I got this. And then you do the project and it doesn't work. Now, a lot of people think that is cool because who cares? In the short term, you got the money, right? Because you got a client, you did a shitty job, and they are not ever going to hire you again, but you're fine with it. Now, the problem is that time flies. That time is always going to go by, and you always want to work for the future. You always want to work to make your future self more comfortable and in a better position, even though sometimes it requires to work for free or to work extra or to do more than what people recognize. It doesn't matter. You need to generate the trust and you need to generate the confidence of who you are as a professional in your field, regardless of what it is. you need to be someone that people can trust and can have the confidence that if they tell you to do something and you agree, that means that you can do it. And if you cannot do it as they expect, then you just say no. Okay, so be always available, be always valuable to others, even when they don't pay you, it's fine. Be professional, and never ever lie. Don't think that by lying you're going to get anywhere. You know, whenever you start lying, that people are going to start talking, and at some point this person is going to tell the other, they're going to find out, they're going to tell everybody that you're lying. So you're going to destroy all the work that you can do for your whole life just by trying to, you know, look cooler, or to say that you have done more than what you have actually done, or that you're bigger than what you actually are. You know, transparency is vital, because if you say, hey, I am an independent professional, or I am not very experienced, but I am very hardworking, whatever it is, that is really going to give you an edge. Please don't think that you can lie and get with it, because you're going to be discovered. Okay, so please build a positive reputation by being authentic and working in the long term. Now, there's several things that you can do for your positioning. The first thing that I recommend to everybody is to have a project. Okay, so even if you are inside of an organization, have a project that could allow the company to thrive and to do better. If you're inside of an institution, think of something that the institution could do to better accomplish its goal. If you are an independent professional, it is also good that you have a sort of project or brand or something that is like a vehicle for you to go talk to people. So, for example, if you are going to talk to your boss and say, hey, I want a salary raise, well, that sounds a little bit harsh. But if you say, I believe if we do this initiative with this budget that I know we have, we are going to increase our whatever by this much. Okay, so this project can be useful for the company, and I can lead the project. And what if I lead the project successfully and you give me a salary raise? So if they accept it, then you may be able to do it. Now, if they don't accept it, it's fine, because they know you're entrepreneurial. They know that you are willing to do things. They know that you have ideas, and they see you as a strategic partner. Even though your position may be lower in the company, it doesn't matter. They know that you think, they know that you see, they know that you see the trends, that you see what's going on. So if you're inside of an organization, it's good to have a project. If you're outside of an organization, it is even more important to have a project. That project can be your own self. So one of the things that I always recommend is to have personal business cards. And a lot of people tell me, but I am not a consultant. How can I have a business card if I don't have a company? I am looking for a job. Well, you're a professional that can do a lot of things in your field. In your business card, you don't have to say, I am the most amazing person ever. You have to say, I am this person and I can do these things. But by having the business card, people know that you're serious about what you do. People can contact you. You give them your card, so they give you their card, and so you get the contact. And also, you can always go in a way that you have already defined your services, so everybody can know that you're not looking for a job, which is like it looks like when you're going from down to up, when you're trying to ask for a favor to someone that is in a better position than you. But when you're offering services, you're as an equal. I offer my service. If you don't want it, it's fine, but we're both the same. So having a business card, having a project is really going to be useful. Now, portfolio is absolutely vital. What I mean by that is having case studies. When I started my company like 10 years ago, I realized very early that because I was very young, and because I didn't have the contacts, and because I didn't know anything really, people were asking me always, what have you done? How can you prove yourself? And I didn't really know how to do it. But I was very certain that I needed to work with big organizations, because after defining my goal, I saw that I needed the support from big organizations to actually do the impact that I want to do in the future. So I realized that I was not going to accept any small company as a client, but I would always look for the big brands. And what I also did was work for free for a lot of brands. I did a lot of projects in the beginning that was for free, even paying myself. So after doing that project, from that moment on, I will always be able to say, I have worked for these guys. You see, so when you have a good portfolio, when you have worked for a lot of organizations, when you can show a lot of case studies of what you're able to do, then people are going to hire you more. For example, if you have good testimonials, good positive comments of yourself, that is going to build the reputation that we're talking about, okay? Now, in order to become an authority, one of the things that you can do is to create content and to push content saying, hey, I know about this, I am good at this. And you don't have to expect that social media is going to bring you a ton of clients right away. You don't have to expect that a lot of people are going to share your comments or whatever. But what you need to understand also is that when you create that content, if someone gets to know you, say in an event, through social networks, through whatever, via maybe someone introduces you, when they get to know you, they can go to your website, they can go to your Instagram, they can go to your LinkedIn, and they can see your work. So even if no one sees what you're writing, even if no one sees what you're posting, it's fine, because whenever you talk to someone, they can go to that and see, it looks like the guy knows about it. It looks like this girl is very good at this. Okay, so show that you're able to do what you say you're able to do, regardless of if you are inside of an organization or outside of it. Also, what I was talking about, knowing people, it is absolutely vital. And again, it's not only about sales, it's also about all the opportunities that can come to you in whatever field, that come basically through individuals that know that you are going to deliver. And the bigger your network is, and the more you take care of your network, and the more you help without expecting anything from them, the more you actually get. So I have helped, or tried to help, hundreds of people. I have a network of thousands of people in different parts of the world. And I barely know, if I help them or no. I just try to move, and I try to be valuable. And if they ask me for something, I try to be there, because then one day I am going to launch a project. I'm looking for a contact in one country, and I happen to have it. And because last time I did reply his message, I did try to help him, even if I was not able to, but I tried, that person thinks positively of me. Or that person looks at my profile, thinks that I have done some stuff, he thinks that I am trustworthy, and so he hires me, or he allows me to go forward. Okay, so again, it is really important that we build that with the time. Don't think that you're going to be able to build something huge in 1 year. You're going to grow a lot in 1 year, that's fine, but probably you're not going to be able to go from not existing in a field to being the authority in the field. And I can give you an example. I have been working in international relations for 10 years, but I have started working on social impact 1.5 years ago. And I am still not there yet. I speak in places, and some people know that we're doing this, but there's a ton of people. Let's say I have some contacts in the UN, but not enough. I have some people in different organizations, not enough. So even myself, that I have already some good connections and some good portfolio, I still am trying to move and become an authority in another field. And I have to work for 4 or 5 years to make sure that I really got it, that I am really in a position that people start to know me and start to count on me for the projects, okay? I don't know if you guys are using LinkedIn, but please do use it and have a beautiful profile. Put the best pictures you can, explain well your experience, do some online amazing courses that there are available, use the IE courses, that there's a lot of great material that you can also use. You can put a lot of volunteer work that you can do for different organizations. Do whatever you can to make it better. Ask your friends for testimonials and recommendations. Have a powerful profile and keep making it better, updating it every now and then. And please don't just say, I am a student. Don't just say, I am looking for a job. Don't ever do that, because no one is ever going to hire someone that says, I am looking for a job. What you have to say is, I can provide value in this field, or what I told you before, I work in this project or this initiative, or I am a consultant in this field, or I am a professional of these things, okay? So please have a clean profile, do a lot of connections, talk to people, try to be active, generate content and understand that LinkedIn is probably going to be one of the biggest battlefields for your career. So use it heavily, get to know it. You don't need to be amazing the first day. I am still struggling with it and I've been using it for years, but it is really important. So please use it. With social media, well, it is a big field and it is tough and it requires a lot of work, but it is important that at least you have the basics, which is you have different accounts, that you connect with people that may be interesting for you, that you post some content, and ideally that you find your own niche where you're especially valuable for others, where you can really help them achieve their goals or solve some of their problems in a specific market with a specific language. And that is going to give you a niche and you may become stronger there. And please, numbers are not everything, okay? So don't be obsessed with having more followers, because it's a really, really bad path to go through, okay? It's difficult to get numbers. I have worked with a lot of celebrities and influencers. It's really something that very few people get to have, and they work 24/7 on that. And probably what you're doing should not lead you in that path, okay? So don't think that numbers are everything. It's good to try to grow, but I would say that probably it's going to be more useful for you to actually connect with people, add people, talk to them, offer value, be with them than anything else. This is what I was talking about, the business card. Please have one, even if you don't have a position. And there are so many marketing channels. I don't know, what time is it? Let me check. Okay, so we have like half an hour, I think, before the Q&A. So I'm not going to go over all the marketing channels, but just understand that there's hundreds of ways to promote your brand, to promote your project. And you cannot ever say that because of the market, you're not achieving what you want, or because of the government's fault or whatever other person's fault. Okay, this is your responsibility, all right? This is your project, your idea, your life, your family. So it's great to complain. Do complain if you want. You can whine as much as you want, but it is your responsibility. So you need to market yourself and you need to sell. And you need to push as hard as you need in order to achieve your goals. So don't ever say that it's because the situation is bad or whatever. It is your fault. Because at the end of the day, if you don't get a client, well, you could have been better. You could have been better connected to them. You could have been able to show them a better case study. You should have been able to somehow maybe collaborate with companies of their field so they trust you better. So whatever it is, what you're not achieving, don't think it's someone else's blame to blame. It's yourself, not to blame, but just to understand that the only thing you can do is to work to make yourself to improve your situation and to make yourself achieve a position where you get what you want. Okay, so assume full responsibility. It is your problem, no one else's. So please don't bother complaining about someone not hiring you. Okay, doesn't matter. It was not meant to be. Life is difficult. Life is not fair. We know that. Market is tough. They don't answer to your resume. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is, are you talking to enough people? Are you marketing enough? Are you working enough? Are you good enough? Are you improving enough? Do you have the skills? Do you have the knowledge? Are you the best partner for them, or maybe not? Okay, so please take that into account. Marketing channels will always be there for you. There will be a lot of ideas, a lot of things you can do. I could talk about this for hours, but I believe that the biggest value for you guys is to just know that it is about keep pushing, and about actually delivering the value to the people you get to talk to. These are some of the communication channels that are available. I'm not even going to go through them, but like events, influencers, merchandising, galas, media. You can talk to the media outlets that operate in your city or in your area, and you can provide them with content. For example, a PR, a press release of your business or the things that you're doing. And if they share it, then you get a lot of exposure. So I have collaborated with media since the beginning of my project. And again, we have generated more than 1,500 media impacts. And I can tell you, if you want to appear in media, you talk to media, you get to know them, and you try to provide content to them. And then, at some point, probably you're going to appear. So again, many channels. The most important thing is to keep going in the same direction and trying to get that network going and be useful for them. And then I want to talk about sales for a while, but I think maybe we have 100 questions or maybe none. Do we have questions that I should answer, guys? Let me check.
Carlos, there are questions, but
okay.
Let me just recommend that you finish since you have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So just finish the session and then we can now just focus the rest of the time on answering questions.
All right, fantastic. Perfect. So what I was talking about, the promotion part is great. You can have the most amazing brand, you're looking amazing, but maybe you don't have clients, or you have not been able to actually get what you wanted. And we are all born professional salespeople. Just think of what babies do. They cry until they get what they want. And when you're fighting with your spouse to see what film to watch or what to eat, well, someone wins, and what you're doing is selling the idea of this movie is going to be amazing, or this new house is going to be amazing. You're probably trying to sell something, okay? So we are born professional salespeople, but we are just so annoyed by the people that call us every day that we want to have nothing to do with sales. But guys, again, for your own life, for the sake of the amazing things that I know you can do to provide value to the world, you need to learn how to sell. Okay, I wrote, I think it was like 500 pages about how to sell, trying to get all the knowledge I could about it, try to understand the sales process and how to sell my, for example, how to present a project, how to prospect, and how to define who my target is and how to do the follow-up. But then it's when I spent so much time learning about it, I realized that in reality, it's pretty straightforward. You have to talk to a ton of people as much as possible. You have to be always there, always available, always follow up, and have something that is really valuable. And if it's not, change. If you talk to 100 people and all of them think that whatever you're selling does not make sense, probably does not make sense, okay? So I'm not saying that rejection is an indicator of your idea not being potentially good. I'm saying that if no one ever actually hires you to do something, maybe it has to do with what you're trying to offer, the way you're presenting it, or maybe it has to do with the people that you're talking to in the first place, okay? So sales are important. Now, what about sales? Sales allows you to raise funds, get clients, get partners, launch initiatives, improve your conditions in your own job, of course, getting a job. It helps to all that. And there are a lot of skills that you can learn, but I am going to focus on the most important of all. I don't know if you guys know about what the sales funnel is. A sales funnel is this beautiful shape here where you have a lot of potential clients that you start talking to, a lot of potential opportunities, a lot of potential ideas. So you have that going into the funnel, and out of the hundreds of potential ideas or clients that you have there, only a very few end up appearing as your end clients. What happens is, for example, let's say that I'm looking for a client in technology. So I talk to Google, and probably they're gonna say, no, you're too small, we're not interested in working with you, whatever. So that just stays here. Then I go talk to Facebook, it doesn't work neither. Then I talk to Huawei, it doesn't work neither. But what really happens is that if you put enough potential clients into your funnel, and if you do the follow-up properly, you're 100% going to get clients. Okay, that is absolutely mathematical. The problem is that you require a lot. So you're gonna have rejection. Let's say that you're gonna have only 5% of success rate, all right? So you talk to 100 and you only get 5 clients. But if that is the case, think what happens when you only talk to 10 people. Chances are you're not going to have any business, any opportunity, you're not going to be able to do anything. again, if you're trying to speak in events, or you're trying to become a professor, or you're trying to become a coach, or you're just trying to sell your idea to your boss, if you only pitch once, if you only talk to a couple of people, the normal thing that is going to happen is that you're not going to achieve anything because of this that I'm talking about. You need to bring to the funnel hundreds. You need to have so many potential job opportunities, so many potential clients or prospects that you even forget about who you're talking to, right? You need to have so much that you forget about the opportunities that you were fighting for. Of course, you have it there and you go do the follow-up. But you know those times when you apply for a job and you wait for them to reply, and people ask you the first day, how was the interview? And you say, good, I'm waiting. And then 2 weeks afterwards, your family asks you, how is that? And you say, I'm waiting. And then 3 months afterwards, a friend asks you and it's like, how is that interview? Still waiting. And then when they write an email saying, we don't want you, then you start thinking, okay, maybe I should go look for something else. You just lost 3 months plus probably another 3 months more, and you're not going to get anywhere. What you should be doing is not only applying and sending emails, but also talking to everyone every day. So you don't even remember that you were talking to this company, and suddenly you're going to have 3, 4, or 5 that are going to tell you, you know what, we want to work with you. And of course, you have to always be there. It's not that you forget about people, but that you don't always talk about the same opportunity over and over again, because it's the only thing that you have going on there. You have to have a lot going on, and don't blame the market. It is your thing to talk to more people, right? It doesn't matter if you're trying to do business or you're just pushing your brand. I don't care. You have to talk to more people. You have to talk more. You need to be more valuable, and you need to keep building your brand, okay, or your positioning, let's say. So that's about sales. And then I would like to talk a little bit about skills. Let me check again the time. Right, so we have until I think 15 more minutes, and then we go to the Q&A. So 2 very important things. If you want to become an authority in your field, you need to know more about your thing. You need to know more about the situation, about what's going on, the trends and so on. And also you need to have specific skills. You need to be good at whatever you're doing, right? That can be coding, that can be researching, that can be doing legal assessments. I don't care what you're doing, do it well, okay? And having those skills is going to be useful. Some skills that I'm going to recommend you besides sales, well, public relations. Being good at talking to people is going to be vital. Another one, public speaking. If you're good at talking to people, if you're good at expressing yourself, if you are good at sharing your ideas, then it is going to be way more likely that you achieve the success that you want. Now, if you think that you are not good at it, then what you can do is to try to improve a little bit. I am not saying that you have to become a rock star. Basically, we all suck at everything. I suck at everything, and I try to improve, and I still am pretty mediocre in basically everything that I do, but I try to improve. And I am better than what I would have been if I didn't train. So if you think that, you're super scared to speak in public, all right, if you get to a position where you're not so scared, then that's a good progress. If you didn't know anything about Excel and suddenly you start using the program, that's good. If you didn't know how to edit videos and you start editing videos, that's awesome. If you can start programming very simple things, that's better than nothing. But because every goal that you set for yourself and every skill that you are trying to learn is going to require time, and it's going to have an opportunity cost. What I implore you to do is to first know who the hell you are. First know where you're trying to go, because if what you're trying to learn is not going to help you to achieve your goal, then you're wasting your time. So, for example, with languages, I am passionate about them, but I am also very careful with the ones that I choose. As I told you, I want to speak the most spoken languages. Learning a language is very, very tough. I've been learning Arabic for 4 months, and I'm studying 5 hours a day. So that's a huge commitment for myself. I have never committed so much time per day if it wasn't for the business. So this is a lot of sacrifice. But I know that thanks to that, I'm going to be a better human rights advocate. I'm going to potentially be able to avoid some conflict or some war, or trying to help people that are in need. in Arab world. And there's 25 different countries, 300 million people that speak it. Okay, it looks like it makes sense for me. Now, imagine that you're trying to learn a language, like, I don't know, a beautiful language like Italian. Possibly it's not going to be the most useful for your career unless you have a ton of business going on with Italy, right? So if you're going to start learning languages or skills or knowledge, try to make it so whatever you're trying to do really makes sense for your long-term vision, okay? Because in that way, everything that you do makes sense. Everything that you do is going to be useful. So you can be relieved that you're going in the right direction. All right, so I want you to see yourself as a video game character. Do you know when you're playing a video game and you have a character that has a specific level of skills? You have a level, you know, and you keep growing and you keep getting better. And the better you play the game, the better your character is, the more abilities you have. You know what happens is that every time you stumble upon a little monster, you can kill the monster. But sometimes your level is not enough. So you're trying to kill a monster, let's say this huge economic crisis that we have because of the coronavirus. That's a hell of a monster, I have to tell you. So we need to have a very good level in the skills that we want in order to really be able to tackle that problem. So see yourself as something that is always in constant change. You are going to need to adapt more than ever. The job market is going to change 100 times in the next years, not once. It's going to change every year. You know, AI is not going to just happen one day and the job market is going to change. You're going to have self-driving cars, and so drivers are not going to be useful anymore, but for the rest, we're going to be fine. No, it's going to change all the time. So you're going to have to update yourself. And so if you are able to adapt to new circumstances, then you're going to be fine. If you're not able to adapt, then you're not. So please see yourself as something that is constantly improving. Try to improve in those things that seem to be incredibly useful for you, for that role that you're trying to build for yourself. There are some of the tips that we have for learning skills more effectively. There's 100 things I would like to share with you. Probably I don't have enough time, so I'm just going to say these are some of the skills that probably are useful. Being able to do video or graphic design, or be able to edit a picture, or be able to create a flyer of an event or something that you're doing, possibly is going to be useful. Being good at Excel and databases, possibly useful. Human interactions, definitely. Public speaking, entrepreneurship, how to create a project, how to go from not knowing where to go to actually building something that makes sense. And this is something that you can learn. And there's a very cool website that is called google.com that has everything. You just go search how to build my e-commerce site. There you go. And you have everything you need. What are the platforms? How do you set it up? What product do I want to sell? Like, you have everything on the internet. So don't tell me that you don't have the right mentorship or the right information. Everything is in Google. I didn't know anything about this. I started selling just one service, and I have ended up doing more than 100 different services. And I didn't know anything about any of them. So from events to delegations to how to do marketing campaigns, I didn't know anything about any of those. And when the time came, I learned and I tried to implement the best I could. So learn the skills that are going to be useful for you, and don't tell me that you cannot because you don't have the resources. You have video tutorials everywhere. Please improve yourself. Okay, this is a really cool thing that I'm going to go very fast over. I don't know if you are familiar with Fiverr.com, Freelancer.com. These are sites that are based on the idea of crowdsourcing, which means that if I need a service, I go to the website, I say, guys, I need to do a website. Who does it for me? Or is there anybody here that is good at doing voiceover, translations, or whatever the service is? So you come here, and for a very low price, you're able to hire people to help you. So if you tell me that you don't have a website because you don't know how to do them, cool, you pay $50 and then you already have someone doing the website for you. Now, the other way around, if you are selling services as a professional, this is also very cool because you can get revenue, you can get clients by saying, this is what I do, this is my gig, and these are the conditions. If you hire me, I will do this for you. Look at this because it's really cool. Here you have from logo design to all kinds of services. This is, for example, for website creation. This is translation. So you say, okay, you speak well English and French. Awesome. If you're good enough to do translations, then you can come here and say, I help you translate. Now, how this works is you upload your gig or you upload the different services that you can provide, and then people can hire you. And then after hiring you, normally they leave a positive review. So for example, this is a voiceover. Imagine that you have to do a video and you need a voiceover. Cool, you come here, you pay, and you hire amazing people. Now, this is an example of a service. She is from Kenya. She helps you to do, I think it's legal research. She has a basic service that is only $5 and it goes up to $81. And this is how she delivers the service. Now, if you have any skill and you can sell any service, please come to these websites and push, because even if you're not making a lot of money, you're probably going to be able to achieve some level of revenue. All right, and I think we still have like 3 more minutes, so I will go over one thing that I think is pretty cool very fast, and then I'm going to the Q&A. All right, so as I told you, you have to believe in the idea of self-improvement as the main motivation and the main, I would say, strategy behind all your movements. Now, I have a very cool thing that I call my dashboard that includes my goals, my skills, my knowledge. It includes everything. And look how crazy it is that I have this going on. Let me show you. Okay, there you go. This is my dashboard. Can you see all these Excel documents? All right, so here you have, for example, my abilities in, I don't know, maybe public speaking, or how good or bad I am at any of my company's different activities, or even something that I believe is crucial, which is all the things that I am concerned about, all the things that I am worried about, that are bothering me, that I am not feeling comfortable with. So I try to check them, and I try to see, okay, these are some things that I will never be able to change, you know, because that's the way I was born, life is difficult. Or this is something that has happened to me, I cannot change it. But there are some things that you can really do something about. Imagine that you're worried because you're not being good enough to your family, or you're not making enough money, or whatever it is. Well, you can track that so you're in control of your mental health, in control of your life, and you keep improving all the time. All right, so I think we don't have much more time, so I'm going to just go for the questions, and I want to just end by saying that please, mental health is going to be vital. It doesn't matter how successful you are if you're not happy inside, if your mind is not clean. So take care of yourself, understand yourself. You know, life is tough. We go through a lot of hardships. We all go through a lot. We see people looking amazing on their Instagrams, but in reality, everybody deals with a ton of things. So please take care of yourself and of your family.
So thank you, Carlos. This was really great. So we can go straight to the questions now. We have several in the chat room. Okay, just a second. So someone, James is asking, is there a clear difference on the role that marketing plays to the role that sales plays? Or is it just one and the same thing? What is the link?
But there's a huge connection between them. Marketing helps to sell, sales help you market. Both things are very important, but you could be marketing forever and not get a single client. So if you can only do one thing, go sell. But by marketing, by having a better image and a better positioning, that's definitely going to allow you to sell better, because people are going to see the things that you've been doing, or maybe people know you beforehand. You know, it's incredible when you go to a place and you say, hey, I'm Carlos, and they say, yeah, I know you, I saw you. It's like, okay, that really helps to make things better. I don't know if I answered to your question.
Then the next question, we had comments, people asking whether this recording will be shared. Yes, the recording will be shared. Fazine says something for Carlos to check out. There's an app called 𝗪𝗁. Carlos, I don't know if you've checked that out. It said it helps people improve public speaking using AI.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of great apps. Thank you for sharing that with me. I will definitely check it out. And again, there's many ways to keep track of your progress, but what you need to do is to really have the motivation and actually commit to improving and using whatever tool available. Definitely.
Okay, great. So, okay, the questions here, someone is saying, so it's Fazin again. I'm currently in a junior role in my company. I would like to pursue a career in educating students about their personal finance. I've been trying to build an audience and I have a blog, though it's not professional. I am active on LinkedIn, but I guess my target clients aren't on LinkedIn. I even reached out to someone about whether I can teach a general business at a local university to new students. Do you have any advice for him on how he can?
What was the service exactly again? Sorry?
It says the service is that he wants to pursue a career in educating students, high school and university students, about their personal finance.
Okay, so first of all, I love that. I think every kid, everywhere, regardless of their age, they should be more educated on finance and how to deal with money and all that. And I love it. Look, we said one thing about the amount of people that you're talking to, right? So I don't know how many people you have reached out to. If you're contacting all the schools, all the universities, all the academies that are available, probably you can talk to more people, right? So it's not exactly about you having the blog and not really getting traction or all that. That is going to be useful. Don't suffer too much doing it, but it's good to have it. But where you should expect to get the client is to actually, when you actually go talk to people. Now, when you say LinkedIn not being the platform, probably, and I don't know which country are you from, but when you go on LinkedIn, you see a lot of schools and you see a lot of people that work in schools or in universities. So what I would recommend you to do is to, first of all, keep pushing the content about kids or young people should be more educated on finance and on money management. And also, what you do is you connect to everybody that could potentially be your client or a school to teach, right? So talking to all of them and them seeing what you're doing, and you say, hey, this is the way we do it, and these are some of the contents that we share, and this is why it is important. So you keep pitching that, and you talk to all these people one by one, and you offer, and sometimes you do it for free, and sometimes you will end up being hired. But even if it takes a little while, you need to talk to all these people.
Okay. Then we have a question from Itibai Kana. Okay. She says, out of curiosity, what is the role of specialization in personal branding? And then a follow-up question to that was, does personal branding completely rely on pursuing specialized courses?
The last question was, sorry?
Does personal branding completely rely on pursuing specialized courses?
Okay, so you can hear me, right? Okay. I don't think it only relies on that, but definitely having a niche is going to be useful. You cannot be everything at the same time. Okay, and for example, in a personality like mine, that I am creative and I want to do a lot of things, it is very easy for me to just talk about anything and just not have the specific positioning that allows you to really go forward. So of course you need specialization, but what is the problem? That if you're too specific on your specialization career, what ends up happening is that your target clients are very, very limited, and maybe you're so specialized that maybe people don't need that anymore, and then you're out of the market. So what I would say is try to be very good at some specialization that is clearly going to still be useful even during the crisis, and of course, you have to have some keywords, some things that you do. But what I would recommend you to do is do something that is going to also be useful in the long term. Okay, let me explain. If you say, I can give you an example of something that I have done myself. I was an expert on China-West relations. Okay, I speak the language. My wife is Chinese, so I have been doing West-China relations for quite a while. And that was a positioning that we had for a long time. And so people knew that I was the guy to call when they wanted to do something with China, or if it was a Chinese company, all the way around. Now, it was very wide if you think about it, because what is West-China relations? Well, it was sports, fashion, tourism, it was a lot of things. So I would recommend you to have a specialization that is very clear, something that people know, okay, that this person, she or he, is good at this, they can do that. But don't be too specific, because if you only do, let's say, tourism between one country to the other, suddenly coronavirus comes and you only do tourism and you're out of the game. You see? So by having some level of specialization, but not being too concrete, you can do that for the rest of your life. Imagine, for example, what I'm doing now. We're doing social impact consultancy. We want organizations to generate a positive impact in the world. We want to help them to be better for the world. Okay, so that is CSR, that is social impact, that is SDGs. Okay, so that is specific, right? It's a specialization. I am not doing finance, I'm doing social impact. Now, I do so many different verticals. I can do, projects with sports or with fashion or with culture. So by having a branding on social impact, I am able to pursue the career that I want, where I can provide more value to the world with my life. But I am not saying only in this particular vertical. So even if the tourism car is out, I probably can still talk to someone else, And because I have this sort of positioning, what happens is every day that I push in this direction, I am stronger. Every month, I'm stronger. Every year, I am stronger. If you position yourself as something hyper specific for 1 year, you do that, and then suddenly you don't see traction, you change, and whatever you've been doing is not useful anymore, and now you start with another thing. It is always going to happen the same thing, that what you were starting to build and to grow suddenly disappears, and it's never getting stronger. So what I would ask you to do is to think, is this a brand or a positioning that I can use for the rest of my career, or it is something that is going to be short term? If it's long term, you can be very happy to push as long as possible.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions here, and we are almost out of time. Okay. But we had questions that had to do with whether people should take specialized courses and what else people can do to improve and how Carlos improves and so on and so forth. Okay. So my recommendation is, since Poppy is coming up now, she's going to talk a bit about things that IE offers. Also, Carlos has shared his email address, so you can send him an email, or you can send us your emails, and and then we'll respond to that. So I'll hand over to Poppy now, and then following that, you can also ask questions after she has spoken. So ask questions to her about IE, ask Carlos about personal branding. So Poppy, I hand over to you.